This is Observious bringing you guys another League of Legends commentary. And today, and as long as it takes to upload them all, I'm going to be doing a series of back-to-back commentaries, going over a bunch of ranked games I played and trying to get away from that one game every now and then. And so you're probably going to see a whole slew of games upload, and it's going to be up to you to pick which ones to watch or watch them all in order and all of that good stuff. And I'm going to try to keep a little bit of a theme, and at the very least I'm going to be a little bit of a spoiler for this match, as this is going to be more talking about mechanics and stuff than actual commentary. If not mechanics, but sort of gameplay decisions. So for this game, in the pregame, you might notice that our team has no real tank. I don't really have a tank except for maybe Blitzcrank. And the reason for that being is that I said I was last pick and I'd cover for whatever the team needed. Well, we had a Warwick jungle, we had a Heimer mid, we had a Caitlyn and a Soraka. And so, by all means, I should have taken my Maokai to the jungle. Sort of. I mean, Ashe, Caitlyn, bottom, Warwick jungle. We needed a top lane. And for some reason, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have taken Maokai jungle, but I should have taken Maokai to lane solo, and I wasn't really confident in doing that. Alistar was banned, and I told them that if they have a gangplank, I was going to go ahead and pick Jax, since while I have very bad memories of gangplank raffle stomping my Jax in Twisted Tree Line, that's because gangplank's passive applied that healing reduction, which meant early game Jax just utterly got destroyed whenever he tried to sustain, as that's pretty much his main thing, is you get yourself some sustain items, i.e. a gunblade, and just utterly wreck. So I figured I'd go ahead and try it out this way, and try to counter Gangplank. Also, I'd been checking up on the forums, and someone specifically had a thread saying, how do you counter Jax? And there was a whole bunch of different counters to Jax. And then there was another one saying, how do you deal with Gangplank, and so I was kind of looking those over, and basically someone was saying, whenever they are up against Gangplank, they pick Jax, so I said, alright, I'll go up against it. The alternative theory was that if you just spam Parlay, you ought to be able to easily handle a Jax, and so I just wanted to see, who would win what, when, where, why, and how. Also, on a side note, the day before this, I was watching Guardsman Bob stream for a little bit, and he was picking up Jax and all that little history, and he's a fairly good streamer and player. If you ever go watch him, go ahead and watch him. You see a little bit of a fight going on here where Warwick goes after Ashe and gets pulled by Blitzcrank, where he has to flash away. A little bit of action here. But I'm going to mainly be focusing on this lane, and I'll tell you guys why in a second. Anyways, something I found a little bit interesting, and I'm going to bring it up later on in the match, but apparently Jax can solo Baron with 2.5 gunblades, as in a gunblade and then the cutlass. He can solo Baron by himself. So I was kind of thinking about just stacking gunblades this game, and so kind of see how well that's going to work on Jax. But as you can see, I hit level 2, I leaped him, and he lost about half of his health. And so you can see he's being a little bit passive now, and being a little bit scared of that Jax burst. Also for this game, I went a little bit away from the way I leveled Jax, and I kind of wanted to go for that leap first, with 1 point in E and 1 point in power, and level in power last, when I used to take Empower first over leap, because it's a shorter cooldown and it's a fairly low mana cost. So if you're in the melee, you might as well take it. But even with this for the cooldowns, and as you can see, it's working out pretty well for me. But something that I think Gangplank messes up in this lane is he just starts using his parlay for last hitting. I mean, he sees me going for him right here, you can tell he's getting really low. But whenever he actually stopped, I might have already missed it, but at one of these points he actually uses his parlay on me, and he auto-attacks me 2 or 3 times, and that really takes my health down. I must have already missed it since I'm using a potion. I'm using a second potion to heal up. And, there he tosses a parlay at me, but that's not really going to do anything. And so, I mean, he just gives away the lane. because if he doesn't, try to apply constant pressure like I'm trying to apply constant pressure, then every time he leaves the tower, I'm just going to get a bunch of damage on him for free. And so now he's just sort of going to be hiding behind here, and I'm guessing he's going to hope for an easy crit. But that sort of brings me to my next thing, which was something I was talking about earlier, which was, we have no tank, so what was the plan on this? Well, we needed, to finish up this team comp. I thought we needed a bruiser of some sort. I definitely wanted to counter the Gangplank pick, because Gangplank can carry hard very easy in one of the games that I don't know if I'm going to be uploading. I had a ranked game where Alistar and Nasus were attacking a Gangplank, and the Gangplank was really low health, and Nasus and Alistar were both at about half HP. And Alistar had no mana, so he couldn't actually pop any CCs. And Gangplank literally sustained himself at low health enough to kill the Alistar and almost kill Nasus. And this was mid-game, it wasn't even late game where, he's got Bloodthirst or anything like that. He just vamped so hard. And that was that. But you can see I'm sort of dominating my lane here for the most part. I'm letting the lane push back. This entire game I was pretty much only last hitting, except for, at parts like this, which oddly means that even if you're only last hitting, your lane's still going to push itself if they don't last hit sufficiently and to their tower. And then eventually, the tower's going to push the lane for him, and you have to deal with this whole mob. We've already given up one kill to Warwick getting caught in his jungle. Hammerdinger's pushing his lane, which is okay-ish, but I don't know. He's dealing with Malzahar and giving him some gold apparently for free. But this is just going to be mostly back and forth stuff, where I farm my lane, and that's about as far as I go as far as getting low. But you can go ahead and see Soraka getting taken down. And just going a little bit into commentary here, seeing as how my team is giving up kills. And, so, there's a red buff trundle, and we all know what they were talking about with red buff, is once you get ganked with red buff and you're in the middle of the river, you're supposed to die, according to those red people and pro junglers in general. Me, I still need to work on using red buff on all of my junglers. I don't really use it too much as compared to blue buff, and it just overall isn't really too much worth getting. I get it more for the EXP than for the actual ganking potential. But that's just my fault as a jungler. But don't take jungling tips from me. I'm pretty bad at it at the moment. But you can see, why doesn't Warwick ever gank? People are, not happy. We're all saying that Warwick can't really gank until 6. Which he's only level 4, because, he just doesn't have any CC, pretty much. He can just run up to people and Q them and auto-attack them, and woo! He doesn't really have a gap closer, that's not his ultimate. So Warwick's more for I can sustain past, the first level or 2 by myself without anything, and then at level 6 I can gank really, really hard. So that's Warwick for you. And I'm just sort of last hitting. We'll go ahead and look at this. Yes, I'm currently at 43, which is okay, I guess, for 8 minutes. I'm really having to deal with this tower. This tower is actually blocking me from last hitting for a good amount of it. But alright, here comes Trundle coming up to gank Jax, and here's why people rage about Jax is, oh no, look, Flash is overpowered. He was overextended, and yeah, okay, you get the idea. Anyways, while that's going off, another ally gets slain in the bottom lane, and so the reason we didn't have a tank was because of the comp, but also Soraka was just saying, I'm a pro healer, I got this, everyone will be basically heal tanking. And Caitlyn rages that Soraka is useless, I think, and doesn't do anything, and here she goes and gets grabbed, and then Ash Arrow gets silenced, and she goes ahead and gets picked off. And so, for those who don't know, Jax is a bit of a hyper carry. He has the best late game scaling passive, or just the best passive in general, for item wise as how much gold it gives. So you can build pretty much glass, and by glass I mean just not building any real survivability, and get away with it. I mean, you're going to need resistances and armor and stuff like that, but overall, Jax becomes fairly tanky just building attack damage and AP items. And there's many different ways to build him. For this game, actually, I wasn't using my dodge page. I was using my build that I was testing jungling Gragas with, because it was it had the flat AP quints, and then it had flat AP with a mix of AP per level blues that I was replacing with flat AP glyphs. And then for marks, I was using flat attack damage, and for my yellows, I was actually using armor. So I'm not even using dodge runes of that like free 11% dodge or whatever it is that I use on my dodge seals. Because I just wanted that extra 15 AP and see how it would work out. It works out fairly well if you saw that damage on level 1. But I'm pretty sure I'm about to dive him here. But as you can see here, this isn't really too much of a global commentary. It's just going to be more of what all is going on, what's going to happen, and the whole theme for it. Generally, when people play low elo, or when people say, like, how can I carry out of low elo, they picture someone doing something like what Jax is going to do in this game, which is basically, you know, run around and kill everybody, because, you know, I was allowed to farm top lane. Even though I wasn't directly, like, being a jungler and, you know, running around and magically ganking on the lanes, even if your teammates are pushing or coming in and double killing those two guys, or pushing my lane like Heimerdinger's right here, dropping his turrets and then running off to bottom lane and killing people, or coming behind the tower and killing him, you know, random, you know, pro roaming and all that. You can kind of do it like this if your guy can farm that well and scale well, and that's kind of why people fear Mordekaisers. You throw Mordekaiser into the mid lane, and not in the mid lane, in the top lane, and he'll farm all day, get his items, and then run around killing everybody and just always shield, never die, and so on. That people like to make smileys about, but it's true in low elo. And so that's just something you gotta watch out for. So, I mean, the team comp allowed it. I mean, we didn't have a tank, but they didn't really have a tank themselves. They had Blitz for initiation, they had Ashe for initiation, they had Mouse for initiation, and so they had really good initiation if they wanted to just pick someone out. I mean, they had Trundle, Slow, Gangplank ult, etc. But as far as the comp goes, we were sort of, I guess, around the board. We had Soraka and Caitlyn for the long-range pokes and heals, making that lane fairly sustained. We had Warwick for our real initiation and kind of our off-tank or main tank, if you want to put it that way. And you can see that my ward down at Baron, which was the reason why I was pushed up that far, sort of pays off here, except I don't have any sort of slow. As you can see, I went back and got my Ninja Tabby, Vamp Scepter, and Amplifying Tome, and then just sort of went back to lane. Now, things aren't going too well. We're losing 3-6, and I don't really think that you have to do it this way as Jax. I mean, your team might be sad, you might be winning your lane, but, you know, people might be having trouble with theirs. Heimer seems to be doing fine. He's pushing his lane up a little bit, but he's not really in fear of ganks. The jungler's top. There's no real ward top, as my ward is dead, but I went ahead and recalled and turned that Flying Tome into a revolver, so now I've got even more sustain, and I've got a sight ward. And that's something that I've been wondering a little bit about, is are they going to nerf the vamps on all the items, since, you know, they're talking about how sustain is too powerful, so are they going to nerf vampirism and spell vamp items? That's just something I'm a little bit curious about. People have been saying that carriers are just going to all get wriggles, and then immediately that's going to get nerfed. But Heimerdinger gets ganked by Malzahar and Trundle, and gives up a kill. Although he does go ahead and take Malzahar with him, so it's all good. But you can see Warwick gets the jump on Gangplank, and while it slows, you know what, I'm like, alright, you know what, I can kill this guy. I'm going to go ahead and push the minions up, and Gangplank's just going to go ahead and be a bad player and not leave the tower. So I tell Warwick I'm going to get him to shoot. Once I go ahead and jump him over his ultimate, I get ignited, but it's not really going to do anything. I think he'll was kind of hoping I'd run into Trundle here, because I was pretty sure I could solo him here. And so I do see him, but guess I'm not going to engage him. And so I tell Warwick he has no faith. I guess I was too busy typing with that enter open. But I mean, things are now 5-7. We've gotten 2 kills in this top lane, which are going to bring it up versus 3-7, I guess. But these bottom lanes aren't doing the best. They're doing okay, I suppose, but the bottom lane was griping. And you can see that us having no real tank and them having all the initiation is really going to start hurting us later on. And so it could be that I screwed over the comp, and that's why we were in this position. And it's one thing you could say. But I don't know. I mean, this main thing is going to be oh, there goes Ashe getting a kill on Caitlyn somehow. That's a little bit interesting. Caitlyn saying she's done with Soraka, and so more rage going on. But I don't know. I guess you could say this is the feel-good game where basically I get to be the hero, and I'm spoiling it for everyone because I'm not even in that spot yet. But this game was just sort of showcasing Jax. People want to go, how are you building your Jax nowadays? Well, truth be told, even though that those Jax videos, the one that I did when I was first starting Jax, and then the updated one on the Twisted Tree line showing that Jax setup, I haven't really been playing Jax too much lately. As popular as he is in the current meta, and you'd think I'd be playing him a whole bunch, but he doesn't really have a role in the current meta. And meta is, basically the way everyone plays, as far as definition for the way I'm using it. The way everyone plays for the moment, because it's the most advantageous way to play. Because I mean, you can put him bottom lane, but most low elo games are actually pretty consistent about putting a ranged DPS on the bottom lane. You see this is like 1100 elo, and it's Soraka, Caitlyn versus I can't remember, what was it, Blitzcrank and Ashe, with Blitzcrank as support. I mean, it's a bit of unconventional support, but Blitzcrank can do the job pretty well as a dodge. And bottom's just sort of getting destroyed right now. I'm off laning against Gangplank, not really able to push the lane because I'm worried that Gangplank's just going to burst me down with that Sheen. And so I'm sort of farming up here. But my single-mindedness does sort of pay off and hurt the team at the same time. And I just sort of wanted some opinions on whoever views this video and actually ignores all of my bumbling commentary but watches the game. And that's going to be, are some of my decisions correct? Like, should I be leaving this lane and heading off to go fight off that lane? I mean, later on I'm going to do some pretty crazy things, and I'll ask you guys about that later. But, I mean, Hammerdinger's doing pretty well for himself. He's pushing the lane. He's trying to take down the mid tower. Blitzcrank looks like he's going to go ahead and push, but notice how there's no towers been taken down yet. It's almost 18 minutes into the game, and no one's really claimed a dragon that we know of. There's no wards here at the moment. Rel's coming up to gank, and I don't even have to flash. I just go ahead and jump away. And that's that. Soraka needs help bottom lane, so I think earlier Kate was saying she was done, so I said Caitlyn can come top, so I can go bottom. My W messes up over here, and I say Kate won't come up, oop, so I can't. So I'm just going to keep on laning over here and farm. This is kind of like a Nasus setup, where you don't want Nasus to farm his Q, well, you don't want Jax to do this. Jax can do his auto-attacking ultimate like this, and push lanes fairly fast. But people are going to be a little bit raging here. Caitlyn's going to be saying, come on, guys. And, she's wondering, what are you doing? Hammerdinger's saying you ran into them. Hammerdinger's says MIAs. And Caitlyn's saying you can't run in jungle all day long and sit in daze all day long. And so, I guess she's griping at me and Warwick over here. But, we'll see exactly how well it turns out. See, I'm still rushing the Gunblade. I can actually afford it right now, as it does cost 1975, so I've got more than enough for that and a ward. I believe I'm going to go ahead and recall and get it. And this was kind of the big thing I was going for. It's not really the fastest gunblade ever, but I do have 120 CS at the 19-minute mark, which is actually terrible now that I think about it. But fairly good for this game, as the only other person who's close would be Heimerdinger at 128. I'm at 120, he's beating me, and Malzahar at 135. So I'm like pretty much at where the mid lane is, versus Gangplank's at a measly 59, and so I'm beating his last hits by double. And so now they've sent up Malzahar to come up and deal with me, since I left the lane. And Warwick's sort of just waiting here for an opportunity to do something, and I'm not really going to give him that. So he goes ahead and says Mark 1, so I'm like, alright, go ahead and kill Gangplank, because he's going to drop the perma-slow and all that. And so I go ahead and I'm like, alright, we can kill him, and then I eat a mouse ult to the face, and Gangplank dies, but then Malzahar flashes, throws down a dot, and yeah, gets the kill on Warwick. And I wasn't able to do anything with all of my farm because I got mouse ulted. And that's just something to think about whenever you're a Jax player, is if you have all of this, like if you go the crazy, somewhat trolly, but also really, really strong gunblade stacking build, you're gonna be okay versus any sort of sustained damage. But if you get hit by, if you get chain CC'd, you know, where you're constantly stunned, or you can't do anything, then you can't heal yourself back up, obviously, through auto attacks or leaps and empowers and stuff like that. And at the same thing, if you get bursted, you can't, heal that back up, because it takes time to heal yourself back up. Even if you have 3 gun blades and you heal yourself back up in 2, or let's say 4 hits and you're at full health. And I'm going to go ahead and not vote, since my own self is going to vote later on, I'm sure. Actually, I'm going to hit no, and nothing's going to happen. A little bit thrown off by the chat, reading it, and it's almost like I'm in-game. If Malzahar, does such things to you, or anyone else, then you're screwed and you can't carry. And so that's going to be my main fear this entire game, is repeated Mal's ultimates. That's the only real thing that I'm kind of afraid of. Rumble taking some of my survivability I'm really concerned about. Blitzcrank grabbing me and popping me up a little bit, and I'm afraid of that at the moment, but later on as I get more fed, not really. And Kayla goes ahead and feeds another kill. Unintentionally, of course, she is trying, she's just playing badly, or poorly, I believe is the correct term. And so it's going to be Jackson me. I'm playing Soraka too, apparently. Jackson Soraka versus Ashe in the bottom lane. And we're not going to really be able to do too much to this Ashe, because she has slows. She's playing really safe, unlike that Gangplank. And so I'll be able to leap her for maybe a 6 of her health. And then nothing's going to happen. And I probably could dive her right here, but I didn't really know if she had her ultimate. And then, ultimate and all that could actually hurt. And, actually, here's something I want you guys to look at. So, Jax's passive is he gains 3 health for each attack damage and 2 health for every ability power. So, even though I don't have any actual health items, I do have 60 attack damage, which if we do a quick 60 times 3, that's 180 health, and 75 ability power, it's like, 150? So, that's like 180 plus 150, that's like, 330? So I get an extra 330 health just from this item alone, not counting the spell vamp and damage, of course. So I went ahead and dive dashed over there. Apparently I lied. She threw her ultimate, but if you were actually watching that, I screen covered over it. I actually leaped over the arrow, I think, and it hit Soraka. And so I killed Ashe, I think. I could be wrong, though. And so, Heimer's asking, or Warwick's asking Heimer if he ever left middle. Here's another mouse ult on me. And so, yeah, he ignited me, so I can't do anything. And I just leave, because that's just no fun. And looking at the map, I didn't actually see these guys coming, and I'm pretty sure this is my ward too. So I'm just like, you know, kind of like really sad here. But it's okay. But something a little bit funny about this game that I was going to briefly talk about was Org was asking if Heimer had moved from mid yet, and he's like, I went to a bush. So yeah, I've left mid. But just the whole comic of it. Meanwhile, Warwick is going to go ahead and just steal the enemy blue. I guess go ahead and push this lane and see exactly how that works out. My teleport's up, so I teleported to mid lane, expecting Warwick to go top. I see that he's fighting Trundle, and so I'm actually going to look at the map for a second, which is why I'm looking over here. I'm like, alright, it looks like Warwick was losing. So I started coming over here to come out and save him, and I totally kill steal him, and I took 330 gold. But I should not have done that. He's going to go ahead and talk about that. I'm going to be like, I'm sorry. And he's like, not really. And I was like, no, really. I didn't mean that. I would have just pushed mid and taken a tower. I didn't need that kill at all. But I'm 3-2-2, so I'm not really at a carry status. I've got tons of sustain as usual. Instead of tons of damage, I've got tons of sustain. Something that I kind of don't like is I don't have my Rage Blade, and I don't actually plan on getting a Rage Blade this game at all. And people have been talking about Rage Blade itself, and it's good in a sustained fight, and it's really good for pushing turrets, but it doesn't proc on inhibitors because inhibitors aren't monsters or whatever, and they don't give gold. Like, I think it procs on the Nexus because the Nexus gives 25 gold if you last hit it. So, you know, it helps with that, but otherwise, or maybe it's your passive that doesn't proc. I'm trying to remember. But anywho, let's go ahead and peek. Does it say anything like that? It just says on attack or spell cast. I'm pretty sure it's a bug. I'm trying to see. Consecutive attacks. One of those doesn't proc whenever you attack an inhibitor. And I'm pretty sure it's a bug that's been around for aeons. But, it's just really, really, really useful for taking down towers because of the extra attack speed. But for straight up killing people, you really can't beat the gun blade. And I'll show that off later on. So, one of the decisions I wanted you guys to sort of look at if you're watching this game and figure out if it was the right decision or not was I saw that they were in trouble over there, and it was Raka versus, I'm sorry, it was Ash versus two other people, and I don't remember. And this is pretty funny. I get mouse ulted, or no, someone else got mouse ulted. I don't even know. Warwick got mouse ulted, and this is what's gonna cost them. They focused and ulted the wrong person, even though he was standing next to me, and I just utterly destroyed them. So, although, of course, Heimerdinger did his little thingy because he's a Heimerdinger and he has blue buff from someone he killed. And so, anyways, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and maybe kill Ashe here. Nope, she's ghosting. Not Ashe. Caitlyn was stuck defending this tower against two champions. She died for it, and we lost the tower. I got Dragon, though, and we cleaned up pretty nicely, but I kind of abandoned the bottom lane tower for Dragon. So, is Dragon really worth a tower? I don't really know. I guess it's sort of situational. In this case, it worked out, but as you can see, you know, we're not really covering the lanes. I finally left my lane, so Blitzcrank is just gonna overdrive and fist it to death, because that's what he does. Every E he does double damage, and so he's gonna get the tower, but I'm like, alright, we can kill him. So we're just gonna come in here and try to get some more gold. And farm up a little bit more. I can get another gunblade, by the way, if you look at my gold. It's at 2834. We're going to be looking at gunblade number 2 in a second. But I want a little bit more gold. I guess not. I'm going to go ahead and come to the mid lane. I still have red buff, which is more true damage, as it does... Well, it just says it deals damage, but it deals true damage, unless I'm mistaken. Well, it does a small true damage dot, which has killed people from time to time, and it's pretty hilarious when it does. But, oh no, look at that low health Ashe. I'm like, I want to go over here. I'm sitting over here in this bush, and I'm trying to think of some way that I could come down here. There's all the minions, so I'm going to go ahead and peek. And I'm like, oh, I can get her, I can get her, I can get her, and she poured it out. So, sad face there. But, Malzahar is, just clearing out this creep wave. He's rocking it. And I promise that all these little marathon isn't going to include just personal commentaries of just what I'm doing the entire time. But for this one, I kind of wanted to do that just because I wanted to sort of incorporate the feel of ranked games, and it's just kind of what people are expecting. I don't really think that you have to do this to win games. It makes you, like, when you truly carry a game, you truly carry the game. You can do this at any elo, where you just dominate your top lane, get a lot of farm, be invincible, go around and kill people, and people will be like, someone who's too fed. I think we can recover from such games, and I'll talk about that later. And then again, sometimes, your lane will be the opposite. You will maybe just barely sustain your top lane, say King lane or something, but then look at all of that CC. Alright, so I ate a bunch of ultimates, I died. I'm actually going to sigh here and gripe in a bit, because I'm a terribly bad low elo player, and Soraka's going to say bad. But I ran in to save Heimerdinger, I ran in to save Warwick, who ulted somebody. I wasn't even looking at the map, and I just get focused by everybody. So I die. I wanted them all to engage, and they tried, Heimerdinger popped his ultimate and stuff like that, but I wasn't really focusing because I was looking at all the enemies. Heimerdinger gets grabbed and does an amazing flash there. Doing a little bit of commentary here, but I'm really sad because I teleported to the mid lane from the side lanes, and if I had just pushed down this tower, or just pushed this lane, I could have gotten another tower, which is sort of like the opposite of it. The whole dragon turret thing was, should I have teleported into the fight over here and just, stayed back and, done that? Or should I have, aggressively pushed this lane? I think I should have pushed the lane in this instance, and, I guess for people that have good resolutions, can, go ahead and, say, hey, you should have pushed the lane, or no, you should have done this, because a lot of it's just going to be on the mini-map, because my camera usage isn't going to be too good this game. But as you can see, I've got 2 Gunblades, I've got a Vampiric Scepter and Amplifying Tome, and I've decided I'm going to go ahead and sit over here. And so, I'm sort of grabbing it over here about me eating all the ults and then just dying, and Warwick's saying we have no tank, that's why, and Soraka's saying she has a pro support. I'm going to say it's working for us okay at the moment, because, it's currently 18-20, and we're tied on towers. So, and we're up a dragon, so that's always good. Dragon, of course, isn't up yet. It's on a 6-minute timer, but I've decided that I'm going to do Baron. I was actually autoed to go top, but I've decided, I'm going to start Baron. Soraka's going to heal me up, and we're just going to duo Baron. So, that's the plan there. Meanwhile, mid lane, another turning point in the game, or potential turning point in the game, as Heimerdinger, drops this turret. I think he had a second one, but it died earlier, and ults it, but he's not really able to defend that tower at all, because it is 4v2, 3, I guess, and the 5th person's chasing Ashe with their frost shot, and so she's fleeing for her life and trying not to feed. But meanwhile, me and Soraka are slowly soloing Baron with the procs, and you can see we're taking it out fairly fast, but not nearly fast enough. So we just now got Baron. They see that. Meanwhile, I think Warwick ate that ult, but he's okay. Heimerdinger gets killed, so there's only 4 of us with Baron. I run in, and Jax does what he does best, which is clean up. This is not any skill by me. This is just something that Jax does best. And I'm like, do I need to leap in? I'm like trying to get in range. Actually flashed like from here to here just to get into leap range, and Warwick picks up the kill. And so we see Ashe over there. She stepped on a Caitlyn trap, and I kind of really want to dive her, but I'm resisting it. And this is just something else that makes Jax a fairly good carry. Alright, so now I'm at 2 Gunblades and Amplifying Tome, which gives me 20 AP, but also 60 health. So I'm rocking 2971 max health just from this setup. And I don't have... I'm trying to think. I I think I'm 0-21-9, so I'm also have like a little bit of health from there, but having almost 3,000 health just from attack damage and AP items is pretty awesome. And if you actually look at my spell vamp and all of that, I don't have that third gunblade yet, but I have 52% lifesteal and 50% spell vamp, which means from each half of whatever I do, I get back. So you can see, the actual numbers going up, and just healing extremely fast. So, the fact that it becomes so tanky from just building glass items means that, if I did go that Gunso's Rage Blade, for example, just a Gunso's Rage Blade and a Gunblade alone would give me decent attack speed and health and damage to put a fair chunk into the tower, which is just something to think about. Trundle's over here pushing his lane, so I've already cleaned up. I've got a second gun, or I already have a second Gunblade. I've got the Bilgewater Cutlass and the Revolver now. I've upgraded those 2 bits. And my whole plan for this build was I was going to go ahead and get 3 Gunblades because, 2.5 is what you need to solo Baron, so I figured I'd get 3. And then, in whatever order, of course, depending on how the game went, I'd get a Guardian Armor and MR, and if they killed me, I'd come back to life while they were focusing someone else and sustain themselves for a few seconds. And just like that, win whatever fight that I happen to die in. And then, outside of that, I was going to go ahead and for my 6th item, go ahead and get a Sheen. And then I was still trying to decide between turning the Sheen into a Triforce or a Lichbane. Personally, I would have gone with the Triforce because, I have more attack than AP. You can see it right here. I'd get the slow, I'd get more MS, and so on. And you can see Surrender Boat failing for 3-2. We do have a Super Mini here, but, man, he gets dangerously low. But everyone's going to go ahead and respawn and kill his pool. And so here's going to be stupid death number 4 for me. Pretty sure I got here. So I'm like, alright, I got this. I'm the hyper carry, and watch this. This is hilarious. So Blitzkrieg's like, we can't kill him, so you know what I'm going to do? Grab a laser, and I think I actually typed something in caps right here, just to be silly. I'm like, yeah, laser is cheating. So, while we're all off cheating with the laser, we destroy a turret. Pretty sure it's this turret. And that means we're about to get this turret. So we got 2 turrets out of that, despite me getting laser pulled. And actually, being pretty awesome. Ken's like, we should have been killing freaking towers. Not like we were, but you got grabbed, so I ran in. So that's that. And their team isn't really doing too hot. Gangplank was supposed to be the amazing carry to kill everybody, but he doesn't really have too much farm. He has his Avarice Blade and a Triforce, and he's working towards his Infinity Edge, but we're at 37 minutes in the game, and he has no, BF item at all. He doesn't even have a BF sword. So he's really gimped at this point in the game. And he's 266, and he's only got 106 CS versus my 181, which has fallen off since the game has progressed out of the lane. Heimerdinger's 272, 170, Malzahar at 247, 175. Everyone up here is farming like a boss. Rock's not getting too much CS. There's a team fight going on. I go ahead and lead the first person, and we get to see a cleanup going on where just Jax destroys. And the only thing I'm really concerned about is this Mal's ultimate, which I wasn't really, I didn't know what was going to happen here. But, also the other thing that's kind of scary about Malzahar is you get all this HP, and then he gets a pool that does percent HP damage. So, just take the suppressed champions, take Warwick and Malzahar if there's a Jax on their team, and go at it. Warwick can beat Jax in the top lane, I can assure you that. So, I do a series of leaps via low cooldown, as it's only on a 5-second cooldown. I have my 3 Gunblades, so you can see my 306 attack damage, my 286 AP, and my 3103 health. And so over here, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and leap Gangplank, and ooh, ow, laser, dodge the ultimate, which ass shot to the tower. I'm running away from them all towards Warwick. I get parlayed, I turn on my ultimate to get some more MR, and then I turn around and I leap him, and I'm at half health. So now Ash is like, ah. So I back off, and I leap her again, and yeah, fire my gun blade, and oh no, yep, I killed her. Tanked the laser again. Because my boss actually tank a tower shot, and here we're just pretty much going to go ahead and win. So I didn't really talk about all I wanted to talk about. I got a little bit off topic. I probably droned on for a little bit, but I hope the game was at least enjoyable. And wasn't really talking too much about the action. So just more of a hey, I'm going to be doing this marathon of videos. So here's the first one, and if you don't like it, you can quickly now get away. And so I'm starting to say Kate here, always criticizing my pro heal, and Kate saying we did well, excellent game, etc. And it's just the victory. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to subscribe and check out the other videos that I'm going to be uploading in quick succession to this one. This is Observious signing.